Welcome back, everyone. Today what we're going to do, now that we have watched the welcome video and we've installed Visual Studio, we're going to actually open it up for the first time. Are you excited? I'm excited. All right. So let's go ahead. I have mine don't in the taskbar, but you can go to your run it by hitting your little Windows key in the lower left-hand corner. So it's off the video, I bet. And then click on a letter and go to the V's, and then Visual Studio 2019 is in there. I'll go ahead and run that. It may prompt you for a settings in the process there. You can just continue through that. If it's asking you to log in, I think you can get past that, but you probably will eventually want to log in with your Office 365 or your account, which is the account you log into Blackboard with. Okay. So what happens is it comes to this particular page. All right. Now this is you have some options here, pretty restricted. But what I would probably do if I was you is I would open up first. I would decide where am I gonna put my code, right? So you can put those in a number of locations. But what I like to do, and again, this is just my suggestion, is I do have an extra a D drive. Now maybe you don't have, maybe you just have a C drive, but I like to put my code all on a D drive. So what I'd like to do is but again, what it can be, the only thing that you really should do is make sure it's a short URL, or not URL, file location. And so what I'd like to do is either make right at the root of my D or my C, I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder called, whatever you want, projects, code, that you could do it just like that. And then just put all your stuff right in there. I don't recommend you use OneDrive or Dropbox to save your projects in. All of the files. You can save the zip files, which will, if you want, but that's what I recommend. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a code. I just made a code. I just call it that. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll be ready to go. Okay, so I'm going to come back here then, and what I want to do here is make my first project. Well, to create a new project, it's just over here on the right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take me to this particular view. And what is over here is probably empty for you right now. If you came in and you didn't see the view there that happened, you didn't get to the screen, you can do a file new project. And then you can get to this too. File new project if you're inside of the IDE already. Just depends on where you are. You probably came through this way. But we have some filtering mechanisms over here on the right. I've got some stuff. I'm going to do all project type. If I do all platforms, all project types, all languages, you'll see that I get a quite extensive list of things here I can pick. Different application types, different project types. Luckily for us, we are only, in this class, we only do one particular project type. Maybe we'll explore a second, but normally everything you make is just going to be in these particular things. So I'm going to go ahead and if I was you, I would switch this to C# because this is the only language we're going to do in this class. So I filtered now everything in here into the C# projects. Still a really big list. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I can come over here and I can pick also filtered into desktop. Okay, that makes it even smaller, and that's great. A little bit smaller. And I can also take the platform. I can just pick Windows. Notice we can do lots of different platforms if you have stuff installed correctly. You can do Android, Linux, Mac, Project Reunion, Windows, Xbox, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to switch this to Windows. So I've got C#, Windows, and desktop, and still got quite a list, but at least it's a lot more manageable. Okay, so what you want, and you want, one thing, common mistake I see a lot of students do is you maybe create a Visual Basic project or something else. So if you put this filter to the right one, it'll keep you from making that particular problem, having that particular problem. Okay, so then we come down here, and somewhere in this list, you will see a Windows Form app. Okay, that is the only one, that we're really going to do in this class. So it's always Windows Form app. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then down here, which is behind me, unfortunately, is the next. You can click on next. I'll move me over there. And I'll hit next. Okay. And that takes us to this particular screen. All right. Now, as we refer to different projects, what we're going to have to understand is that we can have a solution, which is kind of a great big thing. I like to think of a solution as like a file cabinet analogy. And then inside of a file cabinet, you have drawers, right? And then inside of the drawers, you have folders. Okay, so when you apply that analogy to what we have in Visual Studio, the file cabinet itself is kind of like something called what we have here, the solution. That's the whole thing. And then what you have for a drawer, we have the project name. And then inside of the project name, we're going to have screens and files and all kinds of things that we're going to work on there. Okay. So while we're talking about this, we're also going to double up here. I also want to show you the naming convention I want you to use for all of your projects. Okay. So if I asked you right now, what does a WinForm App 2? Yours probably says WinForm App 1. WinForm App 2, what does that do? You'd have no idea, right? It's not very descriptive. It doesn't really even tell you that it's a project. If I saw it on the hard drive, I wouldn't even know what it was. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start to utilize a naming convention to help us understand two things. One, what is that thing? Project, solution, form, button, variable, that type of deal. And then a little bit of a description on what it is. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. The first part of that is always going to be a 3-letter prefix. And it's going to be PRJ. So I'm in the project name here, PRJ. I see something on my hard drive called PRJ. I know, you'll know, we all know that it's going to be a project. Okay. And then I'm just going to call this new app. So in this part is just a description, a decent description. I don't really have one because I don't even know what it's going to do, but we'll have my new app. Notice what I have here, capitalization. PRJ is all small. New app is all what they call proper case. Each word has a capital letter to start. So if I had something like an order taking system, I may call this PRJ order taking system with a capital O, capital T, capital S, or something like that. Okay. Now these are simple. So then we go to the next one, and we know that I have a folder here, but I don't know where yours is. Yours is probably pointing to a C users source repos or something like that. What you'd like to do is change this to that file folder structure that we made. Remember, I made a D:/code. Okay. But whatever yours is, just put yours in or use code. You can use mine too. All right. And then we have to change the solution name. If I tab down here, you can see that it defaulted to PRJ new app. Okay, that's good, but not great. I want to change the prefix there to be SLN for solution. Okay, so make sure on every project you change the name to PRJ something. Make sure you're changing your location to be whatever you want it to be. And then the solution should also be SLN something. All right, then I'll hit next. Boom. It'll prompt me for a target framework. You may have a slightly different list here. I'm not exactly sure what gets installed by default. But what we're looking for in that particular case is .NET 5.0. Okay, and then hit create. There might be an outside chance that you only have one in there, and it may have taken the default. You may have jumped through a screen, but if not, if you did, you're good. Then I'll hit create. Chug, 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 chug. Okay, that's starting to open up. Hopefully it's starting to open up for you. Okay, and you can see that architecture I sort of talked about. I've got the SLN new app up here at the very top. Inside of that, that's my file cabinet. Here's PRJ new app, that's my drawer. And now inside of this, I have multiple files in there. I have one thing called PR or program.cs. I just clicked on that. Not going to get too excited about that. The only additional change I want to make is because I didn't like WinApp1 or, for the solution name, I also want to rename the form. And this is how you do that. Okay. So carefully, because there's 3 things in here. You may not have it, the triangle. You can click that in and out. You may not have the Solution Explorer. I should be careful with that too, right? So if you don't have something called the Solution Explorer that's used to show all the things in the file, you can go get that by going ahead and do a View Solution Explorer up here in the menu. View Solution Explorer, and that'll pop it up. So in fact, I'm going to close it with this little X here. There's a couple things to X out of there. There, I got rid of it totally, right? Oop, really got rid of it totally. That's strange. Oh, I guess, okay. And I'll try to bring it back. View Solution Explorer. There it is. Yeah, I closed it on me. What in the world has happened there? Interesting. Okay, so apparently it closed out the whole solution. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file open. Now, maybe yours didn't do this, but I can do file open project. And that's going to take me back to, I guess it takes me out to the hard drive. And I have to navigate to my D code SLN app folder. And then inside of that, you can see what is the SLN new app.sln. Now, maybe your extensions are turned off too, so that would throw things off just a little bit. But I'm going to double click on that SLN. So in case yours closed, you can come back. You can get back to doing that. I don't know why maybe I hit close project somewhere. Oh, well, it's all right. You can always recreate things. So the only additional thing I want to do here is I want to change this form name. FORM1 is not very descriptive. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And again, I have 3 things kind of here with the form 1 word in it. I'm going to go ahead and right click on form 1. And I'm going to pick rename in the context. So F2 or rename. And that should highlight FORM1, and I can start typing. Now I want to use my naming convention that I talked about with this project and the solution. And we're going to use FRM. I'm just going to call it new app. So FRM new app, make sure you keep the .cs there, don't delete that, and then hit enter. And then it says, do you really want to rename this? And we're going to say yes, because that renames all of the stuff there. Okay. Now, let's put baby back in the corner. There we go. And now what we can do, we're not going to get to a whole lot of other things right now, but just a comment. There's a lot of videos in the class. I've redone this one because I wanted to make sure that the start menu is a little different. But as you're starting to look at a lot of the other ones, they're going to be done in Visual Studio 2017. I just have them. All the code is right. The Solution Explorer is right. Everything looks right, except for the fact that you're going to have to see the word dependencies here, and that's not going to be the video. Okay. So I just want you to let you know that all the C# code is basically going to be the same thing. Okay. So last thing here, let's go ahead and run this. We didn't really do anything except change the name of the form. So I can run the app, which means I'm going to build it, try to make sure there's no errors, and then execute and run the program. Now we can do that a number of different ways. I can click on this little triangle right here. That's for running. That's great. Or I can go up to debug and start debugging, which means running the application. Or I can hit an F5. I'll do the same thing. I'm going to come back out of that and click on this button right here. There we go. What that's going to do is eventually run the application, if it can. If there's errors, it won't be able to. And you can see now this is a very unexciting form, and we'll get to a lot more stuff here, but we've run our first application. All right. So that's as far as I wanted to get you in this video. The next video, may have some slightly different names too for the forms and projects, but you kind of get the idea. So here's an updated version, updated video for this, and that's it. Hope you have a great day. You can stop this app by hitting the X, and then you're good. We'll see you later.